Hi everybody, so it's Dave, and this week I'm going to talk all about the abdominals. And so there's a whole bunch of misconceptions that are still out there about how to get a good trim waist, how to get a nice six-pack, and how you go about doing that. And you can thank Kathy, my marketing person, because last week we did all the things with the tubing exercises. And she said, but you didn't talk about abs. I want to, how do I get my... So from this point on, you can thank Kathy for everything that we're going to talk about. Every day this week, I'm going to give you, we're going to break the abdominals down. So let's just jump into that right now. We're going to break the abdominals down into 3 different sections because there's 3 different aspects to your abdominals. So we just think, oh, there's the six-pack muscles, yeah? But there's a lot that goes into what we'll consider that six-pack muscle and getting a trim waistline. So the first thing is, here's a little bit of anatomy for you, is we're going to divide your abdominal wall. So your abdominals, right, your abs, attach to your ribs. And then they move down, all the way down into the front of your pelvis, attaching down into your pubic bone. So that whole span, even though my hand's going towards my crotch right now, so we'll keep this PG, but the idea... All right, moms, hang on. Don't send your kids away. So so the abdominals actually attach up to the ribs, and then they come down into those sections, those six-pack muscles. But they go all the way down, obviously, below your navel, and then attach down into your lower pelvis, your pubic bone, etc. So we automatically then, starting at your navel, that's going to be a dividing line. Anything from your navel up, we're calling your upper abs, and from your navel down, so that lower abdominal wall or that intestinal wall, that's your lower abs. And then you have other muscles, which are called your obliques, and your oblique muscles run diagonally, both this way and the opposite way, so they crisscross. Those are more of the inner unit muscles. So there's internal obliques, external obliques, and then there's a deeper muscle that's even inside that holds your organs in, basically, called your transverse abdominis, your TVA. And that TVA is one of the core, when we talk about your core muscles, it's critically important. And again, it runs all the way from top down to bottom, and it wraps all the way around into the muscles, the fascia of the muscles of the lower back and the pelvis. So that's actually, that TVA, you can think of it as a corset or a girdle. So if you remember the idea of the old, the whalebone corsets that women used to wear, right? They put them on and they had those strings that they would tie up, and they could barely breathe, right? And then they would take them off, you'd be like, I can breathe again. Well, what happens is when that transverse abdominis, when it's active, it's actually drawing in or compressing, tightening, which is a good thing. The inner unit, it compresses everything in, and what that does is it helps stabilize your spine and your pelvis and holds them in a more stable position so that there's not all this movement around of your spine rotating around and your pelvis moving around too much, because that can cause a lot of issues. So that's critically important. And there's other muscles in that core unit that we're talking about. So we're going to work from the inside out just for today to give you an idea. And then as the week goes on, I'm going to give you exercises that are for your upper abdominals, and then other exercises that are for your lower abdominals, and then other exercises that are for the obliques, which help with rotation. And then I'm going to give you other exercises that actually specifically work those inner core unit muscles. Okay? So we're going to talk about a myth for a second. There's this whole idea of if I do abdominals and sit-ups and crunches, that my waist is going to get smaller, right? So people think, oh, I feel fat. I better start doing sit-ups. Here's what you have to realize right now. I'm going to break this out of your myth, all right? It's important to do abdominal work. It absolutely is. However, you've probably heard that you cannot spot reduce anywhere on your body. And what we mean by that is you can't burn body fat around your midsection, your belly, by doing abdominal exercises. It doesn't work that way. You can't, if you want to lose weight in your hips and thighs just by doing hip and thigh exercises, you're not going to specifically target the fat that's right there on your hips and thighs. It will burn, but it's not going to specifically only work that area. So your body burns body fat for energy, right? All over the body. It can be a little more selective in certain areas where we say we have trouble areas where the body holds on to body fat, and that's about genetics. However, we're going to just stick to the abs right now, and I'm going to tell you that you cannot spot reduce or burn body fat just in your abdominals by doing sit-ups. It doesn't work that way. You will burn body fat, but here's the key. Think of it this way. First of all, everybody has six-pack muscles. Now, they might not be as developed as someone else, right? So we could say the average person, right, that doesn't really work out or works out a little bit, has abdominal muscles. The muscles are there, right? However, they're not going to be as developed as, let's say, a professional fitness person, or even if we went to an extreme, let's say a bodybuilder, right? And you get the idea, and if you're not, just go online and look up bodybuilders. Doesn't matter if it's male or female, and you'll see they have very well developed abdominal walls, those abdominal muscles. They're because they've worked the muscle to thicken it up, right? So think of it this way. If you already have a six-pack, which you do, yeah, then you're going to go, well, then why don't I see it? Well, if you have layers of body fat over your six-pack, you're not going to see it. And case in point, if you take a professional fitness person or, again, a bodybuilder, right, and they have an incredibly well-defined abdominal wall, if they start eating tons of calories beyond what the body needs, they're going to start putting on body fat. And you will notice, they'll say, no, I'm looking really thick right now. I'm not very defined, right? And you'll go, yeah, I can barely see your abs because you have this thick layer of fat over the abdominals, so you can't see it, right? How do I do that? If this is my abdominals and they're really defined right here, but then I put a layer of fat over it, you can't see them. All you see is this. You might see a little bit of rippling, but not much. So here's an example or an analogy, right? If I take somebody that is incredibly ripped, has an amazing abdominal wall, yeah? Let's, it doesn't really matter, but everybody knows Brad Pitt, right? And everybody goes, my God, Brad, I think you're amazing. He has an incredibly well-defined abdominal wall, yeah? It's not very thick, but he's very lean. So anybody that has lean body fat, you're going to have a well-defined abdominal wall. But if we, it's going to get a little weird. So if we said, Brad, lay down, and then we're going to cover you with a sheet, just a thin silk sheet, right? You'd still see the abdominal wall. But then if we lay a blanket over it, you're going to see less of it, right? Because now there's a layer on top of it. So this is body fat that we're laying on top, yeah? So if you have additional body fat around and on your body, and we're talking about your abdominal wall, just by doing sit-ups is not going to burn that body fat. You need to burn the body fat to see your abdominals, though. So if you want a thinner waist, a toner waist, and you want to be able to start seeing your abdominal wall, your six-pack, you have to lose body fat. But you're not going to lose body fat just by doing sit-ups. You want to lose body fat the most effective way by increasing your overall muscle mass and muscle tone and starting to eat correctly so that your eating actually turns you into, as we say, a fat-burning machine. Yeah? That's how you lose body fat, and that's how you reveal that amazing six-pack that you already have. And then you can also, while you're working out the rest of your body, right? Working your legs, your chest, your arms, your back, all those big muscle groups, because they're going to burn more body fat than just your abs. Then you start looking at working the abdominals too to tone them up. Yeah? So when you're working your abs, you are tightening them and toning them, which is good. However, remember, if you don't do anything about losing body fat, you can tone them up as much as you want. You're still not going to see supposedly any results because you have all these layers of body fat. So for Kathy and for all of you who keep thinking, oh, I'm getting fat, I better do some sit-ups. No, if you have excess body fat, you have to start working out, you have to raise your metabolism, and you have to start eating correctly, and then your whole body will start getting more toned and defined. So that's what I really wanted to clear up. This went way longer than I thought it was going to. But that's where we're going to leave it for now. Tomorrow, we're going to go into lower abdominals because most people work their upper abdominals and they don't really work their lower abdominals enough, and that's critical for stabilizing your spine. So we're going to do lower abdominals first, then we're going to do all the twisting, which is the oblique work, yeah, and what we call your transverse plane, that rotational plane. And then the third will be upper abdominals. And then the fourth this week will be about strengthening and toning the internal or the core muscles that help stabilize your pelvis, your spine, and everything else that's going on with your body. Really good to have that stabilization. So that's our week. Every day a little bit more. You should be showing up, watching the videos, trying them as we do them, and really focusing on cleaning up your food, building and toning muscle, to burn off that extra body fat to show those incredible obliques, okay? Or not just obliques, but your entire abdominal wall, yeah? So that's it, guys. Abdominals 101. And it really doesn't get much simpler than what I'm going to show you. It doesn't have to be complex. So if you really listen and start applying, we can lock this in, okay? If you have questions, please, again, leave a message below, or you can send me a personal message, a private message on Facebook, or go to the website, holistichealth-fitness.com. Go to the contact page, and there you'll have my phone. Just call me. I'll talk to you. Or you can send me a private email, david@holistichealthfitness.com. Let's see. I think that's it. Kathy, my marketing person, says, I need to just let you guys... to come in and say, guys, you can do this. And it's true, you absolutely can. There is no big mystery to creating health and fitness and well-being. It's not. If it seems like it's confusing, it's only because you've listened to all the craziness that's out there. And I'm going to make it very simple. I'm always trying to make it simple for you guys so you guys can get rid of all the myths, get rid of all the confusion, and just follow along, okay? So until tomorrow, have a wonderful day, and remember, I love your guts. Take care, guys. Bye.